Test, test, test. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a live episode of Brown Overboard. Hello, everybody. So today is Sunday, and I do new episodes of the podcast every Wednesday and Sunday without fail. I have not failed to meet a day yet since I started podcasting, and today was not going to be the day that I did. So I am here for the live episode. Sometimes I do live episodes. I've done this a few times, live Q&A episodes, as opposed to just where I regularly go live sometimes here on the pod. So today I'm doing a live episode. I've said live episode too many times, but you get the idea. So welcome aboard. Welcome to Brown Overboard. I will be here with y'all guys for around an hour or hour and a half. We'll see how it goes. So I hope everybody is doing well today. There's, the news has already been put out about Matt that that was true what happened. So I do have that update for y'all guys that his body was found. It would appear to have been that he took his own life. So we're still waiting to hear all of the details and whatnot. But it is official that he has passed away. He had a lot of issues. He had a lot of troubles, and he lived a turbulent life. But there was good and bad, and ups and downs, and it was a pretty dark end to the story, of his life. I just hope that it can be an example to people who are struggling out there that, you can, you don't have to succumb to the darkness, and you can fight against it, and you can, accept help, when people offer it and everything. Cause it could have been different. But this is the way that it ended up. And just want to let y'all guys know that, yeah, it is official that, he has passed away. All right, so mom is hanging in there. Obviously, she is, devastated. Uh, she has the closure of knowing now for sure, which is, it is what it is. But she's obviously devastated about the whole thing. But mom is strong, and she has to keep it together for the rest of us. So it's the same thing as when dad passed. Mom doesn't really have a choice but to continue being strong, and I'm sure that she will, continue to hold it together the way that she always has. All right. So we'll continue to do the show the same as usual. And, y'all guys can ask questions and whatnot. And I will do the regular Q&A and get to all of the questions. Currently, I am also dual broadcasting because I do have my live going over on TikTok as well as the live broadcast here on YouTube for Brown Overboard. So for y'all guys over here on TikTok, I am running the live here on TikTok as I do my live episode for the podcast, which I'm primarily going to be focused on the podcast over here for YouTube. If y'all guys want to check it out, it is called Brown Overboard. I have almost 80 episodes of the pod that I've aired so far. I have never missed a day yet. When I set the schedule, when I decided that I was going to do 2 episodes a week, at the time I started, I actually had some in the can, as they say. So I had a bunch saved up. And as I released the ones I had saved up, it was easier than trying to keep up with the schedule because a lot goes into it. And especially since I'm a one-man band, it's very much a garage band, podcast. So I really do everything for it, all of it. I do the editing, the recording, the hosting, all the stuff. So a lot goes into it. And when I set out to do, I was like, okay, I'll do 2 episodes a week. I'll do Sundays and Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And if you know anything about me, I'm bad with schedules. I'm terrible with schedules. I'm no good with it. I don't really do time. I don't really do schedules. So I have tried to be as steadfast as possible with continuing to do the podcast and not missing a day, not missing an episode. And so far, I've managed to make that work. So far, I have not missed a day. I've been late a little bit. Like today, I'm a little bit late broadcasting the live. Had stuff going on, and I've had some tech. The irony that my mic goes out on me while I'm saying I've had technical difficulties. So I've had some technical difficulties, which made it where the episodes didn't come out until like 9 or 10 Pacific time. But I haven't missed a day yet. So I have had episodes or live episodes released consistently twice a week, every week since I started the podcast. So I'm proud of myself there. I set that and I stuck to it. Shout out to Mardi Gras. Thank you very much for that. That goes right back into the podcast. Special shout out to you. And they are asking, does your family have a burial spot? So I can't speak on any of that at the moment. I can't give out that kind of information currently. All right. Oh, what was that? Left Wing Lucy. Well, thank you for that. Shout out to you. That goes right back into the podcast. All right, and Lucy's question is what? My question would be, would be about what do you do to stay true to yourself? So let's see. I don't really have to do anything specific to stay true to myself because I'm just very truly who I am, and I've never had an issue with that. I've always just been very even keel for the most part, very steadfast in what and who I am, and I've always tried to live my life righteously. I've always tried to be a good son and a big brother and a good boyfriend and a good human being, and to live my life trying to make the best decisions I can in the moment. That way, even if I make the wrong decision and looking back later, like I shouldn't have done that, I at least know that at the time I made the decision that I thought was for the right and was the best decision. And I've definitely always lived my life in the way that there is no lesser evil. Like people say, pick the lesser of two evils. That is not an option for someone like me. And there's no right of wrong ever. There's no way you can ever do, the wrong thing and justify it because it's for the right reasons. So I've always been really steadfast. So I don't have to do a lot to stay true to myself. It's just really the way that I am. It's just so ingrained into my existence and my being. One thing I will say that I find grounding is that I do like to go back and read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations every now and then, which is a book I recommend to everyone. It was a book I had recommended to Matt a lot. I don't know if he ever read it, but I did recommend a lot, and I recommend it to everybody. It's a book that I'm constantly telling everybody they need to read and should read. Give me 1 second, guys. I have stuff going on. I gotta see what is happening over here. Okay. All right. The podcast is called Brown Overboard for everyone over here on TikTok watching. It's called Brown Overboard. Y'all guys can check it out. You can subscribe completely for free and check out my almost 80 episodes. And thank you very much, guys, for everybody. There's been such an outpouring of kind words and people reaching out to the family, and we do really appreciate it. It definitely does not go unnoticed. Like that, like that's really cool, and is appreciated that there's so many of y'all guys, are telling your own stories about things like this that you have gone through, your own personal ups and downs or ups and downs with the people in your life that have suffered from these kinds of things. And it is heartwarming to see how many people are reaching out like in a time like this, and all the kind words and stuff do not go unnoticed. It is appreciated, and I know for a lot of y'all guys, even though you know us in a way through through TV and through our lives, in the public eye. But a lot of y'all guys, like I've gotten comments from a bunch of people saying they grew up watching the show, right? Like the show's always been around for them. It's always been a thing. And there are people who have been, really uh, inspired by our family and the way we do things and the way we live and all that stuff. And I think that that's really cool. My dad always said that if the show helped one person in any way, or if the show made even one person's moment, then it was all worth it. And the outpouring of positivity from y'all guys in situations like this really shows that I think our show has reached at least one person in a positive way. So I just want to say thank you very much to everybody out there. Thank you very much for being fans of the show, for being honorary members of the Wolf Pack, for being there for the ups and the downs and the crazy and the good times and the hard times. And y'all guys really being part of this adventure that we have been on for so long. Do appreciate it. And thank you very much for being here for the show, for Brown Overboard and being part of the podcast. Y'all guys have shown a lot of enthusiasm for the podcast since I started it, and I really think that's awesome and super cool. So thanks guys for being here. And also, we got 320 people watching at the moment, but only 82 people have thumbs up. So if you're on here, you might as well give a thumbs up. You might as well click the buttons, click all the buttons, all the good buttons. There are bad buttons. Don't click those. Click the good buttons. You might as well. And whether you're throwing something in the tip jar, whether you're liking, sharing, subscribing, whatever, giving the thumbs up and stuff, also very much appreciated that y'all guys do that because it does help the podcast grow. It helps it reach new people. And, I do intend to continue doing this and doing the pod onwards and upwards. And, you just got to keep going. There's no, there's no choice the way I see it. You just have to keep going. And so, today was a podcast day, and so I'm podcasting. Well, calm and collected is not something that I'm called a lot. It does depend on, the scenario that I'm in and what's going around. I'm an irritable person. It is definitely easy to get on my bad side for the most part. But I think that even in my, you know, crazy moments of being a little bit upset, I think it's always warranted, and I'm always coming from a good place. It's always trying to keep people in line, keep people protected, keep people, going in the right direction and that kind of stuff. I've just never been somebody that was good at delivering a message for the most part because for me it's always been about not about how you say something, it's about what you say. It's about the content of what you're saying, not how you say it. And a lot of people they hear with their feelings. And so if you're somebody that hears with your feelings, I'm not the best person to deliver the message is typically an issue. But I am mostly like even keel. So like for the most part, I'm not really high highs or low lows or anything like that kind of guy. I'm just pretty much even keel all the time, unless something ticks me off, which I'm not proud of. It does come in handy sometimes though. All right, somebody's asking, do I have X? I'm assuming you mean Twitter, which is what everybody still calls it. It's kind of weird that they changed the name to X. It's like the site had a midlife crisis and changed its name to a symbol. It's kind of funny. I I've always hated Twitter. I've never been a fan. Never understood how it works, and it's kind of weird, and it's not a great site. So I've never really used it. I do have one though, and I do put stuff on it every now and then, usually just quotes and stuff or advertising for my podcast or whatever is going on at the time. But I do have one. I think it's one of the only ones besides the Facebook account that is my actual name. So I think I'm like Josh Bam Bam Brown on that one. Because for the most part, all my socials are respect the danger, which is of course my the saying I'm known for, and the one I throw out at everybody. Well, you strike the iron whether it's hot or not. You just keep striking. You just keep going. What are you gonna do? Well, and the important part is to, keep going. And lead by example is something I've always tried to do also. Lead by example. Well, you're welcome. And of course I'm here today. Today is Sunday. And today is Sunday, so I'm doing an episode of the podcast. I haven't missed a day yet. When I set a schedule like that, I usually don't keep it at all. But with this, I'm trying to take it seriously. I'm really trying to be professional about it. There are a few areas in my life. If I'm doing something, I always try to be professional. And when it's something that I say I will do, something I'm setting out to do, then I always try to do that to my utmost. And I always try to be professional in everything that I do. It's just for the most part of my life, time was kind of irrelevant. It was just doing the thing, doing the job. Pardon me. When it comes to like acting, podcasting, things that you have a schedule, things that you're supposed to show up at a certain time and stuff like that, then I do stick to it and I will be there and I will do the thing. Like one of the last acting things I did, I was supposed to be there at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I was there at 5 o'clock in the morning. I just stood there waiting until six because for me to be on time, I have to be early. There's the I hate saying that on time is late and early is on time because that's not true. On time is on time, right? If you're supposed to be there at 7 o'clock, then 7 o'clock is on time because that's literally the definition of being on time. However, for me, if I have 2 weeks' notice, I'm still going to be late. So the only way that I can ensure I am where I'm supposed to be is to be there early and to stand there waiting for everybody else, which I would rather do. I would rather do when it's something that I want to do and it's important to me, but I'll do it if I'm obligated to it. But when it comes to acting and stuff like that, it's easy for me because I really want to do it and I'm really into it. So, like standing there for an hour waiting for anybody else to show up, not a problem for me whatsoever. And with the podcast, I've taken it very seriously, and I'm really trying to make it work. And a lot of that, I think, that kind of work ethic comes from the life I've lived. It comes from the examples I've had, like with my dad. It comes from the world that I lived in, to where your life was very much hanging in the balance of whether or not you did the work. Right. So when your life literally depends on it, you're not going to, do it halfway. You're going to do the best job that you possibly can. And so I think that just folds into everything that I've done in my life. Whether or not I'm good at the thing, I still give it my all. Yeah, somebody saying, I don't know why there are so many hateful people on here. So the thing is that people who are haters, now, for one, I don't really think there are haters. They're just anti fans. There are people who are just angry fans. But if you follow everything that I do, if you're constantly posting on everything and you're constantly viewing it and talking about it and everything, you're a fan. Like you just can't admit to yourself that you're a fan and you're an angry fan, but you are still a fan. Now, that being said, the people that run around as trolls and haters and all that stuff, and they want to get on here and say mean and nasty things, they're really just trying to get attention, is what they're doing. It's especially why people like attach to like tragedies, and people attach to famous people, and people attach to those kinds of things, because in their everyday, in their regular life, they feel invisible and overlooked and insignificant. So they will do anything that they can to garner any kind of attention that they can get. And the easiest way for someone to get attention is to be negative, is to be, a nasty, mean person, because it gets more attention. It gets people to notice what they're doing, uh, which is really sad. It's really pathetic and it's really sad. So I feel bad for those people as much as I'm capable of feeling bad for them. Thank you guys. Really appreciate everybody's condolences and kind words and the love and support. Really do appreciate it. Y'all guys are awesome. And I am also running the TikTok live over here. So thank you very much, guys, for being here. If you want to check out the podcast, it is called Brown Overboard over on YouTube. And the reason I'm basically ignoring y'all guys is because I'm doing my live broadcast for the podcast over here on YouTube. I went ahead and fired up the TikTok live at the same time so that y'all guys can experience the podcast also. And of course, I'm shamelessly self promoting the podcast over here to let y'all guys know that I'm also doing the live podcast over here. But thank you very much, regardless of which one you're watching it. Thank you very much for being here, guys, and for all the kind words and the outpouring of love and support and everything. It does mean a lot to myself. It means a lot to my family. It means a lot to my mom. Y'all guys are awesome. And for all the amount of horrible people that are out there, I think that there are a lot more, there are a lot more good people. There are a lot more people who are being positive and kind and nice and living their life in a positive way. All right, so a lot of people are asking about like what are my like best memories and stuff with Matt, and there were a lot of times that we all would go fishing and stuff, and Matt was definitely a good fisherman. I have to give that to him. I don't think I ever saw him not catch a fish. He was very good at it. He was very good at fishing and following and learning from dad and knowing where to find the fish and how to catch them and all that stuff. He was very good at fishing. And I know I used to see he and Gaby a lot on the boat. We would go out like the guys and I, and they would fish together and always be catching stuff. And I was usually the guy running the boat. I was usually the boat guy because if dad wasn't there, then I was skippering the boat while everybody else had a good time. But he was a good outdoorsman, and he was definitely a good fisherman. And he did have a lot of potential. It's one of the things that makes it as sad as it is, you know, when somebody decides to, walk down that road that way, and when somebody succumbs to the darkness in their life, that when they are also carrying that much potential to be such a better person and to live such a different life. It could have really gone a different way. That just makes it all the more tragic. Yeah, so mom is doing well. Obviously, she is, devastated, but she's doing well. She's doing okay. Mom has always been very strong. She's the rock of the family. She's the Dwayne Johnson in the family. So mom has always been able to hold it together no matter what. It doesn't matter what was happening. Dad, when dad passed, when houses burned, when boats sank, when one of us got all busted up, when dad was in a coma, whatever it was that was going on, mom has always been pretty steadfast in keeping it together. So mom is hanging in there, and as devastated as she is, she's doing well. And all of us pretty much knew that it was not going to end well. You always have that hope that like things can turn around. That things can go a different way, but in a lot of these situations and circumstances and dealing with things for this amount of time and knowing everything that I know and all that, it's difficult not to just know in the back of your mind that it's going to end horribly. But you always hold out hope that it won't and that it can go the other direction. And it's one of the reasons that I speak about mental health and things like that, because I'm someone that has never been afflicted by anything like that, right? So I have none of those issues. I have no problems in that way, but I have known people that do, and obviously my brother did, and it's something that does affect a lot of people. And to be better, you have to want to be better. And I think that, just putting it out there and telling people like you can be better. You do have the power to be better. It is within your control to choose to be better. You know, you I if that can help one person, then I'm gonna keep saying it. Then I'm gonna keep doing it. And yeah, like I've said before, you do have to know when to draw boundaries. You do have to know when to close the door, when to walk away. You do have to know when you're helping and when you're enabling. And that is a decision that you must make yourself. That's not a decision anyone else can tell you, when to do that, when it's appropriate to do that, when you need to do that, when you should do that. That's something that everybody just has to decide for themselves because that is something that you have to live with. That is something that you have to decide and carry with you forever. Whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing or the safest thing or the best thing, that's just something you have to decide for yourself. But it's also something that you can't let anyone else make you feel that it's the wrong thing to do if you need to, step away, if you need to close the door, if it comes to the point where you have to just walk away because there are lines that shouldn't cross, and there are lines that you have to draw when you have someone like that in your sphere of existence. Whether this is somebody that you're related to, somebody that you're an acquaintance of, somebody that means a lot to you or a little to you, whether it's your own parents or whether it's your brother or whether it's a cousin or an aunt or a nephew or whatever it is. It doesn't matter who the person is or how you're connected to them, because you can try and try and try. And if, they have to want help, they have to want to take the help and want to be better. Otherwise, there's nothing you can do because you cannot make someone make a better decision. You cannot make someone work out. You cannot make someone not drink. You cannot make someone choose the things that they need to choose to be better. You can do your best. You can do your best, and you can do everything that you can, and you can lead by example. But that's really all you can do, and everybody has to decide where those lines are and when to draw them on their own. Gabe is somebody's asking how Gabe and Noah and everyone are holding up. So they're doing all right. Gaby's hit pretty hard. Gaby and Matt were close, and so it's hitting Gaby pretty hard, and he's a big softy, but and he's doing okay. And Noah really cowboyed up. Noah really stepped up. I'm proud of that little guy for being the way that he is and for doing things the way that he does, and being that guy and stepping up the way that he did. Like, he really cowboyed up and just did what needed to be done. So proud of that little guy. Well, and somebody said several people are saying about having to walk away from family members and things of those situations and just not look back. And it is something you got to do sometimes. There comes a point where that is just the only acceptable move, where that is the only thing you can do. It comes to a point where you just got to walk away. You have to close the door, and it's on them at that point because we are what we choose to be, and you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. And as cold as that might sound, as unfortunate as that is, it is the truth. It is the way that it is. But it is also the reason why I'm constantly saying that, help is out there for people that are struggling. Like if you're somebody listening to this that is struggling right now, uh you don't have to give up. You can hold on. You can be different. And just because your life has been a certain way for a certain amount of time, or just because you have not been able to break free up to this point, does not mean you have to keep doing that thing. It does not mean that that's your life. It does not mean that that's who you are. You can make a difference. You can decide to be different. You can decide to seek help and accept help and try to be better. You just have to want it. You just have to want to. You just have to want it. But you can. There is hope. There is always hope. No, I mean, I'm not gonna go into a lot of details, but up into the end, yeah, there was, there was definitely people reaching out. Definitely, trying to make a difference. And, I think most of us, we had our different ways of navigating things and different decisions, made throughout those kinds of circumstances, but again, those are decisions everybody has to make on their own and do what they feel is best and the right thing to do. And no one should judge people for those decisions because it's a difficult, messy thing to deal with and to work through and to, to be connected to. All right, that's a more lighthearted question. There we go. Somebody's asking, "Do you believe in aliens or other kinds of life? And have I ever seen anything in the night sky?" So we've all seen UFOs because that just means unidentified flying object. Who hasn't seen something in the sky they couldn't readily identify? So we've all seen UFOs, I would wager. So yes, I've definitely seen things that I couldn't identify what they were and readily say, "Yeah, that's a satellite." As far as do I think there are aliens? Like that movie said, if not, there it's an awful waste of space. Like, there's a lot of space out there. So to think that there's nothing, to think that there is absolutely no life anywhere else but on our little spinning rock would be pretty silly, I would think. I mean, I would think the odds are there is absolutely, definitely life on other rocks out there. Like, how could there not be? And if you look at the Earth as an example, everywhere on Earth, even the most inhospitable places on Earth, has some form of life. Life wants to exist. It very much wants to exist. So I definitely think that there's life on other planets. Whether they're flying around in saucers and exploring the galaxy like it's Star Trek or Star Wars, I don't know. But is there life on other spinning rocks? Most definitely. How could there not be? I actually was thinking about doing a longer podcast episode talking about that kind of stuff because it is really interesting and there are a lot of like theories and stuff about all those kinds of things. When some people might think that stuff would be, far fetched, but life wants to exist. It very much wants to exist, and we're here. So, and I'm a gambler, so I would put my money on yes. There are definitely, there's definitely life on other planets. Yeah, somebody's saying, "I understand injuries." Matt would have loved to hear that message from his family. So, I will definitely say that, like, nobody knows what goes on between, people. There is there's no way to know what different people are experiencing, dealing with, how they're handling things like that. So, a lot of people make really broad assumptions about how things are, handled, conducted, how people's lives interact, and all of those kinds of things. And I'm not going to go into detail because it's nobody's business, any of that stuff. And I understand also, putting our lives in the public eye as much as we do. I mean, obviously, we live our existence very much in the public eye. Bear fully embraces that. Like, I'm surprised that kid's not walking around with like the meta glasses, recording literally every second of his day, because he really embraces it, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool. He's like a voluntary uh, Truman Show. Bear is kind of like a voluntary Truman because he put in himself on the Truman Show. So I get that, and I guess that just lends itself to a lot of speculation and things. But there are definitely lines, people. There are lines. Like, because there's some stuff you're not obligated to share or talk about or, have to, share with the world. It's another big thing I talk about actually, and I'm talking about on another podcast that I've been putting together for a while. Actually, it's a more in depth one than just me, winging it on the microphone. I'm talking about residuals and stuff as it pertains to reality shows, because there's no one in the history of reality television has ever received any form of residual ever, regardless of how popular that show was, how successful it was, how much money it made for the network, how long it ran or continues to run, or anything else. Not my show, not the Kardashians, not anybody. No one has ever received a residual payment in the history of reality television, which I think is completely ridiculous and asinine. I think that it's just ridiculous, that fact. And so it's something I talk about at length in an upcoming episode of the podcast I've been working on. Because one of the reasons I'm touching on that here is because when you're an actor and you go to set and you film stuff, you're saying someone else's words, you're wearing clothes for a character, you're portraying someone else. When you take all that off and you walk away at the end of the day, you walk back into your own life and your own existence. Now, those people absolutely should get what they're due and get paid for the work that they put into it, and not just a day rate. They should make, the money that they make. They should get residuals on that because it's their life going into it. They're working on it, they're doing it. It's their art. However, when you're in a reality show, when you're a reality show person, especially when you're not just a contestant on a reality show, but you're someone that is actually putting your life out there in that way consistently for years and years and years, and the entire thing is predicated upon your existence and your actual life, there is no taking off those clothes and going back to your daily life, because it is your life. It is your existence. It is your words. It is yourself that is put out there in that way. And so the fact that that person doesn't get any form of residuals and is looked at like it's a joke to even ask or even think that you should, and yet the person that is taking off the costume and going home does get residuals, is completely not fair. It's completely not fair and asinine, and makes no sense at all, and is something that I Okay. Is the mic working? Test, test. All right. And it's something that I'm talking about uh, on upcoming podcasts and stuff in depth, because there's a lot of stuff within the reality show, uh, the whole reality show sphere, that definitely needs to change. It definitely needs to come into the modern era, just like the rest of entertainment, and it needs to not be the Wild West where everyone can just get away with whatever they want to do. There needs to be a little bit more. It needs to be a little bit more like regular entertainment, where there's actually people looking out for those people to not get taken advantage of, and there should be residuals and all that kind of stuff. And they should be able to get Emmys as well. Oh no, there are a lot of reality shows that have literally never been off the air. They literally never stop airing. They're in full syndication, constantly rolling, and yet they see nothing from it. Any reality show you've ever seen, and that goes for any kind of reality show, any non-scripted show that exists. Those people don't get royalties ever. Yeah, so, on that subject, someone is saying that I need to get someone as, like a moderator on, the pod. And so usually I'm just fast and loose with all of my lives and stuff like that, because the like over on TikTok and stuff, it's like it's just fast and loose. And I don't care what anybody says about me. Leave my horse out of it, but I don't care what you say about me. If people fight amongst themselves, or if you just get really, really weird, then I'm going to, just kick you out. Uh, Here on the podcast, I try to keep it more professional, though. I try to curate the comment section a little bit more, but that was easier before there were as many people. Like when I started doing it, when there were 10 people in the comment section, it was a lot easier, but it grew really fast, actually. So it went from like 10 people to 200 people, to now 600 people. Like it grew pretty quickly with the podcast, because usually the lives and stuff on most sites fly pretty fast. YouTube takes a little longer to build up. So my roundabout point, I'm getting to a point here, is that maybe I do need to do something about that because I don't really do any form of moderations or have moderators on any of my lives. But here on the pod, I do want to keep it more professional. I do want to keep it, keep it nice, keep it clean, keep it professional, and stop anyone from trolling each other or arguing amongst themselves in the comment section or any of that stuff. Uh, well, I don't really have a choice, but to somebody saying you can't handle it all yourself, but well, I don't have a choice. I don't really have a choice. I have to handle it all myself. You just got to keep doing it. And I'm the lighting guy. I'm the editor. I'm the host. I'm the producer. I'm the director. I'm the technician. I'm the IT guy. I'm everything. I'm all of it. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff with the way the land and land management in Alaska and stuff like that works, and I probably shouldn't go into all of that. I probably shouldn't shouldn't go into that. But there was a big thing in the late 90s, early 2000s where they changed everything from state land to federal land, and it made it where there was less ability for the people of Alaska to actually exist on the land the way that they used to be able to. That's just a quick way to sum it up. They did it under the guise of being federal land, so it's protected. But their idea of protection is stopping anyone in Alaska from actually being able to live on the land, which is a bit of an oxymoron, though, if I'm using that saying correctly, because I have seen also because of those things, they've come in and like clear cut entire islands and just destroyed entire ecosystems in Alaska. So it's a weird thing when like they want to come in and say, okay, we're going to protect the land from you, but we're going to let this guy completely, cut every tree down on an island. So I can't go camp for more than 2 weeks in a place, but that conglomerate over there can cut down every tree. Yes, I would say let's not argue amongst ourselves in the comment section. Let's keep it, on topic or ask questions, uh, as opposed to, like don't pick fights with other people in the comment section. That's not cool. Let's behave ourselves, people. We are not children unless you are a child on here, which you should probably have some, parental guidance in that case. So let's be nice, or I'm gonna have to put you in a timeout. It's one thing I like about on here, like on TikTok and the other lives, I can just kick people. I just mute them or kick them. But on here, I can put people in a timeout. It's like I'm just gonna put you in the corner for 5 minutes and let's see you behave when you come back. So I just think that's funny. Timmy, you're going on a timeout. Somebody's asking, do I like living in Washington or prefer Alaska? So I'll just be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of Northern Washington. It has its upsides for sure. It's beautiful in a lot of areas and stuff. It definitely has some pros, but it definitely has some cons. And I'm not fond of how dry and how hot it gets. I'm not fond of the fires at all. So I've never been the biggest fan of the area. I was actually voting Maine when we moved out of Alaska because I thought that would have more of what everybody would probably want moving out of Alaska. I thought that it would provide more of a better environment than here. in my opinion, to be blunt. I'm very blunt. Like, I'm just a really blunt guy. I just tell it like it is. But that's just that's just me. And I know a lot of a lot of the family love the area, and it does have its pros. Everywhere has its pros and cons. All right, guys, give me 1 second. I have to look at something. I have other stuff going on over here. 1 second. I gotta figure out what's happening. Okay, hold on, guys. I gotta take care of something real quick. How do I do that? So, well, first I'll go over here. Okay, how do I pause my live on TikTok so that I can take care of something? Okay. Okay, there it is. Pause live. All right. Okay. So it's paused for 5. That should be all I need now. I have to. All right, y'all guys will have to bear with me. I've got stuff going on. So I need a second. All right. Family stuff. Hold on, guys. Ordinarily, I would wait until after, the episode and whatnot to take care of things and respond and stuff. But in this case, with everything's going on, I'm just gonna take a minute. So y'all guys will have to bear with me. Okay. All right. Well, now my computer's overheating. Okay. There we go. Oh, got to plug this in because the battery doesn't last on anything I have. Okay. What? All right. Okay. It's taking too long, but you got to do what you got to do, guys. Family first. Family first. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Hold on. I'm popular all of a sudden. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm back. More or less. I'm still taking care of stuff. All right. So thank you very much, guys, for being here for the live episode of Brown Overboard. Thank you very much for all of the kind words and support and everything that y'all guys have shown for our family. It is really cool. It's really appreciated. We really do appreciate it. It definitely does not go overlooked. And thanks for being here, on the pod. And of course, I'm here. Not gonna miss a day. I haven't missed a day yet. So bear with me. I have to read something. Hold on. And my idea of multitasking is walking and breathing at the same time. Okay. I didn't think so. All right. There we go. And there's that. All right. Always important to be there for the people that you need to be, even when it's inconvenient and bad timing. You still have to do and be a good big brother, you know? I try. I try. Can't say I've always succeeded, but I have always tried. All right. And yeah, I have bounced around to, other subjects and stuff like that, but that is that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. On a podcast where you're doing Q&A and answering questions. And I'm gonna let everybody know again that yeah, it did we did get confirmation that yes, it's true, Matt did pass away. And it does appear to be self-inflicted, which is yeah, difficult to wrap your head around, difficult to process. Okay, so that took a little while. So I'm going to try. There's just so many comments and things for me to through that I might just have to go to the bottom. Also, my internet signal is terrible. Uh, Systems are all very old, so it's difficult to scroll back and scroll through everything and whatnot. So we'll just pick up where we left off. We're back up and rolling now. So welcome to the podcast, guys. Welcome to Brown Overboard. Thanks for being here. And again, I want to say thank you very much for the just tremendous outpouring of kind words and support and everything that y'all guys have shown for the family. We really do appreciate it. And a lot of y'all guys have been on, this journey with us for a very, very long time through all of the crazy misadventures. Y'all guys are awesome, and I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I hope that you're doing well. Because no matter how dark the day is, there is always something to be thankful for, something to be grateful for. and that is not something that should ever be overlooked. Thank you for that. Shout out to musical learners. Thank you for that. It's much appreciated. And thank you for your kind words. Special shout out to music learners. So today, just doing a live podcast episode. I need to stop touching the cord on the microphone, so it'll stop cutting out. Though, just doing a live episode, talking about things, answering questions, talking about Matt, talking about the situation, and no, I'm not going to give out any information and stuff, but I can confirm that it is true. And the family and myself and all of us put out a, statement on social media about it earlier today, and that's on all my different socials, and I believe everybody else's as well. So overall, if you're asking what the podcast is about, I don't have like a set thing that it's about. It's about a lot of different stuff. So I talk about all kinds of things: philosophy, Stoic philosophy, psychology. Talk about working out. I talk about health. I talk about dating. I talk about, all kinds of things. Giving my advice on relationships. Like I give, all kinds of stuff. I do interviews with different members of the family and we talk about things. I did one episode where I talked for over an hour about how our show came about, which is actually a really interesting story. A lot of people ask, how the show started and all that stuff. So I talk about that a lot. I talked about my dad's passing, stories from the past and everything, what our life was like before the show and during the show, and stuff that we have going on now, and then a bunch of different topics, things that interest me, things I want to talk about. So you just can go on and peruse my almost 80 episodes and get a feel for what the podcast is about, and listen to a bunch of different episodes that I've put together so far. Yeah, it's difficult. It's definitely difficult to wrap your head around when, I mean, it's a very dark ending to a dark story. And it's difficult to really wrap your head around when something like that happens that way, when that's the end. Like it's difficult. And I do hope that, maybe, Matt's message of trying to seek sobriety and to be better, I know has positively impacted a lot of people, and I don't think that is something that should be overlooked at all. I don't think that should be overlooked. We all have our demons, and some people aren't able to overcome theirs. Uh, but if there is a positive thing to find in all of this, I think it is that. I think it is the fact that he did in his moments of clarity, try to send out a positive message to people who were struggling like he was. Because there are a lot of people that are struggling like that. There are a lot of people that have to fight those demons every day. And it's another reason why, I talk about like mental health and stuff, which is another subject I talk about on the podcast. Because it is important for people that struggle with that stuff to know that, they can do better. You can find help, and it's okay to ask for help, and it's definitely okay to accept help when it's offered. And it's difficult for people who are in a position of not being able to make a difference, not being able to help, because you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. And there are definitely times when you just have to draw that line in the sand. There are times when you have to close the door, and when help becomes enabling instead of helping. And regardless of where that goes and where that road ends up and what happens, you're not responsible for that. Because that's another thing that can really weigh a lot of people down when the worst does happen. You're not responsible for that. That's not on you. You know, as long as you tried and you did what you could, that's not on you. You don't have to carry that the rest of your life. Somebody's asking if I wanted to live back in Alaska, which I have no plans to Alaska at some point. I'm sure I will end up there helping my brothers out set up their place because Bear's looking for property. Noah has a little island and whatnot. But I have no plans to move back. But someone is asking that if I were going to live there, would it be southeast or the interior? Excuse me. I definitely wouldn't want to live in the interior. I'm an ocean guy. I'm a water guy, and so 100% it would be southeast because then you have the islands and the water and that whole atmosphere in the area that like I grew up in was so awesome because of the water and the islands and the freedom and the adventure that has living in th- living that existence there in southeast gives you. Well, that's another thing, and I've said this multiple times. It's up to everybody to decide how to handle those things. And I am not a professional. I am not, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional. I can only say, my experiences, and I can only talk about the way that I see things, and I only talk about, decisions that I make or would make. I'm not definitely not telling anybody else how to or how they should handle any situation. It's up to everyone in those situations to decide what they need to do and how to handle it and when it's time to draw a line and where to draw those lines and what to do. It's up to every individual person living through those scenarios, but it's definitely not anyone else's place to judge those people for the decisions that they make regarding the situations that they're in and dealing with individuals that are going through those kinds of things. Yeah, it's of all the ways that I thought it could end up of all the things that I thought might happen, I have to say that that was not what I expected. I didn't expect that. I did not expect that to happen. Alright, somebody keeps saying something about kicking someone out of the, chat box over here, so hold on. I have to I have to look and see and find out if they're trolling somebody else or if there's actually somebody that is misbehaving. For the most part, I play fast and loose with, lives and comment sections, but here on Brown Overboard, I do try to keep it professional. And I do ask that everybody keeps it clean in the comment section over here and that y'all guys don't pick fights with each other in the comment section. All right. Well, that was kind of funny. Somebody was daring me to put them in timeout. So don't dare me to kick you out. Uh, that's what you want. There you go. Oh, it's warm in here. I'm getting thirsty. I'm not going to go into details, and we're still here waiting to hear back like the official reports. But it looks like he took his own life, and it's a sad ending. It's a very dark way for his story to end. Uh, but I'm hoping that he's not remembered for the ending, and that he can be remembered for who he was in the times that he was able to be okay and not in the times when he wasn't. All right. So apparently, I'm getting mass reported over here on my TikTok live. So they're restricting the live over here, possibly because I'm talking about mental health and things like that, which a lot of people apparently are very uncomfortable with hearing about, but it's important to speak about, in my opinion, and to talk about those things because it's something that everyone deals with. I think that everyone knows someone or is connected to someone in some way that struggles like that, and I think it's very important, for it not to be swept under the rug, for it to be something that people acknowledge and realize does exist That's definitely the way that I see it. I'm very much somebody that, there is reality, there is truth, and pretending that there isn't doesn't change that. So, now that being said, obviously I'm on other people's sites and other people's services and things. So if there are guidelines and whatnot, I will follow their rules because it's their thing. So, I wouldn't go into someone's house and not take my shoes off. So in that same regard, I will do that. But there wasn't like any guideline warning thing over here. It just kicked a restriction, but we'll see how that works because I'm really not sure exactly how it works. Yes. So with the TikTok, I'm not sure. There's a way that I can hook it up so this mic runs off of it and it's not running off of my phone, my microphone on my phone. Because obviously this gets incredible sound quality. I use this for voiceovers and audiobooks and the podcast and all that, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet. And I wouldn't be able to run it at the same time, I don't think, that I'm also doing this live over here. And usually I don't, sometimes I run the live on TikTok at the same time that I'm doing my live over here on YouTube. Though it can split my focus. And I end up either just totally ignoring that one to focus on this because this is the show. This is where the show is featured. But also, like I've said before, my idea of multitasking is walking and breathing at the same time. Well, I think another reason why I try to be outspoken for like mental health and stuff like that is because I'm not someone that is personally afflicted by those things, but I know that there are so many people that are. And maybe I think that just makes me more receptive of the people that do have those struggles. I'm not married. I do have a girlfriend. And no, I do not have any kids or pets. A ton of nieces and nephews, though. A lot of nieces and nephews. Yes, in the US or Canada, you can text or call 988 for, services for, or surrounding mental health and those kinds of issues, and they can, direct you to corresponding services and things. So, yes, it's, 988. So I know a lot of people are asking about, funeral arrangements and things like that. That is not something that I'm going to discuss. That is not something that I'm going to discuss or, go over any information regarding those things. So, one thing that makes it difficult on, like, the TikTok live, though, when it gets like, I get the restriction things and stuff on there, a lot of haters and trolls and stuff on there will just report it for whatever, for nothing, and I never know if, like, I actually broke a rule or if it's just so many haters mass reporting me that it's like the TikTok thinks I did something wrong when I didn't. So that makes it also a little confusing. I have to figure out did I break a rule? Did I not break a rule? Are we good? Is it, what's going on here? So mom's hanging in there. Mom's hanging in there. She's always been really strong and obviously she's devastated. She's obviously devastated uh, with everything that happened. But she's holding it together. She has to for us. She has to for the rest of everybody. And mom has always been really strong and really capable of doing that. Well, that is another reason why I speak out against like the online bullying and all of that stuff. Now, there are a lot of ways that they can definitely negatively impact people, and especially people who are overly susceptible to those kinds of things. And more than speaking out to try and like curtail or stop those kinds of things, I try to speak out to to really, to tell people, to show people, to try and maybe lead by example a little bit, to that you can not be affected by it. Like, you can just ignore those things. You can let those things pass by you, because when you're confronted with negative energy in that way, you have the choice to absorb or let it pass around you. And if you absorb, it's going to become part of you, and it's going to become, something that eats at you. But if you let it pass around you as if it doesn't exist, because it doesn't exist, because everyone's opinion is as meaningless as last year's snow, right? And so there will always be hateful, mean jerks in the world. That's always going to be a thing. Nothing is ever going to stop that from being a thing. So one of the things that I really try to do in speaking out about those subjects is to let people know that they don't have to be bothered by those things, and the things that other people say in that way are meaningless and irrelevant, and they don't need to pay attention to that, and they should really just feel sorry for those people, as opposed to taking any of that to heart. Because another big thing, and something my dad taught me, is that if someone is an individual that you wouldn't want to emulate, and there's somebody that you wouldn't want to take the advice of, and there's somebody that you don't respect, why would you listen to what they say? Why would you let their opinion bother you? And so that's something that I've tried to impart on as many others as possible. And it's another reason why I try to give, like, the advice that my dad gave me, and I speak about that stuff to people, because a lot of people didn't get that. Like, a lot of people didn't grow up with a dad like I did. A lot of people don't have that in their life, and never did. And so I do try to, like, share that with people, because I was very blessed and fortunate and very lucky to have that in my life, and to have someone that led with that kind of example and imparted so much wisdom and so much knowledge, to me. All right, thank you very much, guys, for being here. Thank you for all of the kind words and the love and support, and thank you very much for all the button pushing and everything, and for clicking the thumbs up button. Whether y'all guys are throwing something in the tip jar, whether you're liking, thumbs up, sharing, or doing any of those things, it does help the podcast. It helps the podcast grow. So whatever your kind of support is for the pod, I do appreciate it. It is super cool. I'm glad y'all guys are enjoying the podcast. So thank you very much. And again, thank you for the kind words and everything. We do appreciate it. Favorite family recipe would probably be the family spaghetti. It's probably the family spaghetti. Hold on. Well, and my condolences to everybody here, to everybody in the comment section, and everybody saying that they have also experienced a loss like that, and everyone. Uh, my condolences to y'all guys as well. Yes, Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is the book on Stoic philosophy that was written by a Roman emperor over 2,000 years ago, and that's the book that I suggest to a lot of people. I first read it when I was 14, and I've read it probably 200 times. And someone is asking, but yes, I am working on an audiobook version of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, because I think it's a book that everyone should read. I think it's a book that everyone could definitely, better themselves by reading. It's a book that I highly recommend to everyone. And I know a lot of people like may not have time or want to sit down and read a book, but the audiobook version will make it where you can just push a button and listen to the book. Thank you very much for that, Smiling Wolf. Thank you very much. That goes right back into the podcast, and I appreciate your kind words. And yeah, there were definitely, moments, uh, during his moments of clarity, moments of sobriety, his true moments of who he was, that definitely, shone through and, would shine through, and I hope that's what he's remembered for, you know? Not for the ending, but for the good times, for the times when he was okay, for the times when he was able to find himself and find some peace in those moments. Somebody's asking how is Noah doing? So Noah's doing well. It hit him really hard and Noah really stepped up. He really cowboyed up and did what he needed to do and stepped up for the family in that moment. And I'm proud of the little guy for that. Definitely proud of him. But he's doing all right. I know it hit him definitely hit him hard. How could it not? How could it not? That's a very intense thing to go through, and in the way that he did. So I'm proud of the little guy. I'm proud of how he handled it. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. All right. Now, on the live over here on TikTok, since it put a live restriction, I don't know if it's appropriate to close that live out and then restart it or if I should just let it ride. So I think I'm probably just going to leave it alone. I don't know what the rules are regarding that. So I guess I'm just going to leave it and we'll see what happens. But thank you very much, guys, for everybody, for all of the kind words, the condolences, and everything. Y'all guys are awesome. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated, and not just by me, but by the whole family. And yeah, over here, guys, on TikTok, the podcast is called Brown Overboard. I'm doing a live episode of the podcast. That's why, the microphone and what I'm looking at is my computer. So I'm doing a live episode. It's a Q&A episode. And yes, I am answering questions about Matt and everything. It's not something that I've talked about a lot, rarely speak on it, but I know a lot of people have a lot of questions and I'm not giving out specifics and details and things like that. But we are here to discuss. Yeah, I actually have a family Bible. Someone is asking about family Bible. So I actually have a family Bible that belonged to my granddad on my dad's side. So when Billy Joe, my granddad on my dad's side, got back from World War II, he fought in World War II. When he got back, his dad gave him a Bible, and so then he carried that Bible with him his whole life, and it was actually in the plane, because he died in a plane crash when my dad was 16. My dad lost his mom, dad, and older sister, and so that Bible was with him, though. That was with my granddad, and so my dad, got that Bible and carried it with him his entire life. He had it forever, and, it seems like divine intervention that it survived everything it did. Because my dad had it his whole life, always had it in his pack, and then when my dad passed, he left it to me, and it's right over there on my shelf. I have it right over there. I do wanna say there are a lot of fake accounts, guys, yes, so if you have people that are messaging you claiming to be any member of the family, they are not. We're definitely not going to message people and ask for money or things like that. That is obviously not us. There are a lot of fake accounts. Y'all guys should definitely be leery of that. Like all of my accounts, all of my social media is linked to my verified Instagram accounts. So respect the danger with the little blue check mark is my verified Instagram account, and all of my socials are connected to that, and so is my podcast and everything else. So if it's not connected to that, it's not me. So that is a great way to know if it's my real account that you're following, because there are a lot of fake accounts and I go through and report them, and block them as much as I can, every time I see one when they pop up, but it's like whack-a-mole. It's really difficult because they're constantly popping up. So it's hard to, keep knocking them down. So y'all guys, please be cautious of those things. Please be aware of that. And if anyone is reaching out to you claiming to be myself or any member of my family and they're asking you for personal information or they're asking you for money, block them and report them immediately. Thank you very much. And respect the danger, guys. Uh, shout out to shout out to Gail or Gail's 4722. Thank you very much for that. That's going right back into the podcast. Do appreciate it. Thank you for your support on the pod. We appreciate it, and thank you for the kind words. Yeah, he'll definitely be missed. He'll definitely be missed, and yeah, it is difficult to wrap your head around. Those kinds of things always are. You know, it's difficult. Yeah, so a lot of people were asking about like memories with Matt and stuff, and definitely a lot of the happier times, a lot of the good times were spent on the water or like fishing and stuff like that. Matt was always really happy when he was fishing. He was a very good fisherman too. I mean, I have to give it to him. The kid was really good at fishing. He could always catch a fish. I'm not sure I ever saw him fail to catch a fish. Like he really learned from dad and really took everything that dad taught him about fishing to heart. He was great at tying hooks and knew where to catch the fish and how to catch them. And I remember him like helping teach Gaby how to fish and stuff like that. When dad wasn't the one in the skiff, like when it was just the guys and I going out to fish like that, I would always be the guy running the boat. Matt would always be the guy baiting the hooks and helping the guys, throw the lines in and all that stuff. So those were simpler times. Yeah, I'm very glad that I still have my dad's Bible. It's something that I will carry with me, until I go. And then it'll be someone else's turn to carry it. But I'm very glad that I have it. It's my most prized possession is that, and the fact that it was, but the fact that it is a family Bible and that it belonged to my granddad, Billy Joe, and that it was given to him by his dad, like that's quite the legacy. And everything that that book has been through throughout the years is also a lot. It's a lot. Well, that's one of the things, talking about the memories and stuff like that. It's like, you have to embrace the good that is left behind. And, that's why, I do hope that he's not remembered for all of the bad. I hope he's not remembered for the bad, and I hope that he's not remembered for the way that it ended, and is more remembered for who he was and who he could have been. Yeah, what can you say, guys? What can you say? There's some things where there just really are no words. Uh, so a lot of people are asking, do I think the show was a negative impact, like on Matt's life? And I'd have to say no. I definitely don't. I don't think the show has been a negative thing, really, for any of us. And I think it has definitely been a positive thing for us as well as for so many other people. It's really been illustrated with the outpouring of love and kind words and everything that y'all guys have shown. I think the fact that our show has reached so many people in such a positive way, I think that's an important thing. I think that's a really cool thing. I think that's an awesome thing and a great thing. My dad always said if it helps one person, if it makes one person's day brighter even for a moment or makes one person smile, then it was all worth it. So I definitely think it was a positive thing. And I know that Matt had fun filming the show. Matt liked doing it. He enjoyed it. He got a kick out of it. Bear loves being on camera. Bear always loved, filming the show and doing cool, crazy things and then turning around. Did you get that? Did you get that on film? And Matt was the same way. Uh, for all the ups and downs, he enjoyed it. Yeah, my dad was 68 when he passed. And he passed away like 6 years ago. Shout out to Drew Bear. Thank you very much for the kind words. I appreciate it. And that's going right back in the podcast. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for all of y'all guys supporting everything for the podcast. Whether you're liking, subscribing, telling a friend about it, whether you're watching or whether you're here in the comment section and you're asking questions or you're throwing something in the tip jar or you're clicking the thumbs up, whatever it is you're doing, it is appreciated. Y'all guys are helping the podcast grow. You're helping it to reach a wider audience. You're helping it become more of a show and more of a podcast. And one of these days, I will have better lighting. I will have a second microphone. I'll have a cable that actually works. I'll have a better background fixed up for y'all guys. You know, onwards and upwards. I think that already I have become a better podcast host. I would like to think that anyway. I'm sure I'm still terrible, but I would like to think I have gotten better at it. Onwards and upwards, guys. And yeah, I will have Gaby on an episode of the pod soon. Noah as well. The three of us might actually sit down here in the next few days and record an episode of the podcast, you know, and talk about things and go over stuff. You know, and Bear is going to be on it again soon because he's going to be back up here in Washington for a little while before he heads, you know, up to Alaska for a bit. And he really wants to do more of the podcast as well. Oh yeah, Bear is quite the extreme little dude. All right, thank you for that. Shout out to Cat W7098. Thank you very much for that and for your support of the podcast. Really do appreciate it. You are awesome. Special shout out to Cat W7098. And your question is, who is my favorite philosopher? So that is probably something that rotates depending on my mood at the time, depending on my mindset, where my life is, what I'm experiencing. Sometimes I'll find, you know, different aspects of a philosopher that I like. I was actually reading some stuff of a modern philosopher recently because not all philosophers are, you know, from thousands of years ago. But if I had to say a favorite, it would definitely be Marcus Aurelius. It would be Marcus Aurelius, because he would be my favorite if I had to pick one. And again, I will suggest that everybody goes and reads Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. Uh, are we still on the ranch? So we're still working towards building up the ranch. It's something that we all want to do, and we're all trying to build and work on. Thank you very much, everybody over here who is still sticking it out over here on TikTok. I do appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Thank you for all the kind words and everything. Y'all guys are awesome. We do really appreciate the support and everything. So we're still working to build up the mountain. Still trying to. It's a tough go. It's a hard go. Well, Gaby and I and Noah have done a couple episodes together, and we're wanting to do more together. And when Bear gets back, it would be cool for all four of us to sit down and do it. It is something that, you know, I would love to get more members of the family on the pod at the same time. I think that would be awesome. Some people don't want to be part of the pod; they don't want to do it. Like my sisters are not into it; they don't want to. My mom doesn't really want to do any more episodes, but the guys and we are into it. So Bear, Gaby, Noah, they will definitely be on future episodes. And at some point, I'll be bringing on people onto the pod as guests from outside the family. At some point, I'm going to be able to do that. We'll see when that happens, but it's not an if, it is a when. And I don't know what is just really going crazy. I know one problem is that I am using my webcam built into my laptop because I haven't figured out how to use one of my better, fancier cameras and hook it up to the live here on YouTube. That's why you'll notice like the quality of my videos for regular episodes are better than my live quality. But we'll get that figured out. Onwards and upwards, guys. And no, I don't. I'm not going to give out any more information regarding, you know, the events and everything with Matt any more than I already have. But I do appreciate everything, guys. And as I'm sure you already know, yes, it has been confirmed that Matt did pass away. Oh, dang. Well, shout out to Smiling Wolf. Thank you very much for that. Your support for the podcast is crazy. Thank you very much. You're awesome, and thank you for the kind words and everything. All the support y'all guys show for the podcast, the thumbs up, the liking, throwing stuff in the tip jar, sharing the podcast, leaving comments, asking questions, being here for the live. It is appreciated. It is super cool of y'all guys. And I'm glad so many people are enjoying the podcast. I'm glad so many people are enjoying it and liking it, and having fun with it, and maybe finding some entertainment and perhaps a little bit of inspiration, and maybe learning something in some ways. I definitely will. I will pass along all of y'all's condolences and stuff to my mom for sure. I know it means a lot to her. Every time mom sees our show means something to someone, every time she hears that we were an inspiration to somebody or that we helped somebody, continue to push forwards and seek the light in their life, I know it really means a lot to mom. Like, you can just see it, and it means a great deal to her. It means a lot to all of us, but my mom especially. Well, yes, I do agree with that. It is inappropriate for anybody to try and, say that there is a certain way that people should respond to tragedy, a way that people should behave or respond, or how they should act or how they should think, because everyone processes things in their own way. Everyone processes things differently. Some people throw themselves into work. Some people, need to take some time off. Some people go on a walkabout. Some people need friends around. Some people want to be alone. Some people write a poem. Some people need to sit down and watch a movie and have a little bit of escape. Everybody processes things differently and in their own way, and there is no right or wrong way to do that. If you're working through it and you're doing what you need to do for you and for your way to process things, well, that's between you. That's between you and your mind and your heart and your body and your soul. That's between you and yourself, and no one else. So no one should try to dictate to someone else how they should behave in those instances, nor should they judge people for how they do or don't behave. You can't say someone's showing too much emotion, someone's not showing enough emotion. You have to take it this way. It's up to you and you alone what you need to do and how you need to process. And that is something that that people really should realize, because it's a guarantee in life that there's definitely going to be, instances of something being horrible, or things being wrong, or things being bad, or something going, the way that you wish it didn't. It's an inevitability that there will be tragedy of some kind in your existence and in your life in the world, and that's why we should very much, hold dear the things that we have, and be very appreciative for what we do have, and for the gifts and things that we are given in life, and for the experiences that we have, and for the stuff that uplifts us, and for the people that are there for us, and for what we do have. We should never take that for granted, ever, not even for a moment. And I have always tried to live my life in a way that I do not take things for granted, that I don't take anything for granted, but I know that I have. Even though throughout my whole life I have set out to never take something for granted, and have made a point of it throughout my entire existence since I was a kid. I know that I still have, though. So it's impossible not to, but we should really try not to. And we should really try to appreciate and hold the things that we do have, and the things we should be grateful for. Well, that is definitely not a great way to discover the show. But I do hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you're able to enjoy being part of the crazy misadventure that is the Browns and is the Wolfpack. Well, for me, stoicism has always come very naturally. It's just kind of the way that I am, as opposed to finding stoicism and using that for a way to be. It more just illustrates the way that I am. I think that's one reason why it has always resonated with me so strongly. And everybody over here on TikTok, if y'all guys want to check out the podcast, it is called Brown Overboard. Y'all guys can find it on YouTube. I have almost 80 episodes. I do new episodes every Wednesday and Sunday. And thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the kind words. Somebody's asking if my mom or dad encouraged me to study philosophy, or did I gravitate towards that on my own? A little bit of both. It was very, very largely just myself, something that I was very keen on and something that I really dove into. It was around, I was 14 when I first read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. And that's when I really started diving into it pretty heavily and have studied like Stoic philosophy, philosophy in general, but primarily Stoic philosophy since I was 14 and still do today. But my dad read every philosopher. My dad was very big on that stuff, and he definitely tried to impart that stuff on the rest of us, and definitely was someone that would suggest like read this book, read that book. There was definitely some of that in our homeschooling and all of that. Some of us took to it more than others, but it was something my dad was very much into. My mom, not so much, but my dad was definitely very into philosophy. Also, psychology. My dad studied psychology and stuff. All right. Shout out to Reveille's. Thank you very much for that. Do appreciate it. Thank you very much for the condolences. Really appreciate all the kind words and everything, guys. So shout out to Reveille's. So, no, to answer the question, people asking about a schedule for doing live episodes of the podcast and stuff like that. No, I don't have a schedule. Typically, I will do a live Q&A after each episode, and I do new episodes on Wednesdays and Sundays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. But I have started doing a few more lives here and there, live episodes throughout the week. But I don't, as of yet, have any set schedule for that. I've got a lot of stuff going on. And when I set a schedule for the podcast, I want to really stick to it. Pardon me. Like, I haven't missed a day so far, a Wednesday or a Sunday, that I have not released an episode or done a live episode of the show. So if I set a schedule for doing lives throughout the week, other than on the set Wednesday and Sunday, I have to stick to it. And so as of yet, I don't have a schedule for that. And when it comes to my other lives online, it's very just whenever I feel like it, basically. When I have the time, when I feel like doing it. Bam does not really schedule. He just kind of makes stuff up as he goes. So no, I'm not going to be discussing any funeral arrangements, details, anything like that. I'm not discussing that. I've always tried. I've always tried to be a righteous person, to make the right decisions, to do the right thing in the moment. I definitely can't say I always have, but I've always tried. You know, more or less. I think it's important to lead by example. And the thing is that, I always say try to be nice, never fail to be kind. And I hope that I've lived up to that. Well, shout out to Smiling Wolf. Thank you very much for sharing that with me. I'm sure that can't be an easy thing to talk about. And even though I'm someone that doesn't really know you, I do want to say that proud of you. For you to be able to uh, pull out of it like that, and to course correct, and to hold true to it for this long. Like that is bravo, good job, way to go. That is awesome to hear. I'm very glad to hear that. And the fact that you know our show, or our being exposed to any of our life helped in any way, I'm glad about that. Like that's really awesome to hear. Well, that is one thing. In his moments of sobriety and clarity, Matt was a very genuine individual. No, I definitely think that it was very inappropriate for all of the, for all of the information regarding what has happened to be put out the way that it was. I think that's really inappropriate. It's terrible that, as fast as my brother Bear was at contacting our mom, she had already read about it online. So I think that that is terrible. And it's one thing for there to be internet trolls that do that, and just terrible people scurrying around in the internet doing that kind of stuff. But it's really disheartening when you see, like, what is supposed to be reputable, like, news sources and stuff, do those kinds of things. And even if you're talking about a gossip place, even if you're talking about someone somewhere that just, it deals in like celebrity gossip and stuff like that, when they're a well-established, well-funded organization, you would still think that they would hold themselves to some level of decorum. And the fact that they really don't, and the fact that they lower themselves to the same behavior as a regular internet troll is really disgusting. It's disgusting in my opinion. Shout out to Dylan, uh, Dylan Hinsel. Shout out to you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for your support of the podcast. We do really appreciate it. And as far as your question, I can't speak on that currently. There's information that I'm not going to talk about regarding what has happened. So I appreciate your support and everything, but at this time, I can't speak on that. Somebody's saying money makes people weird. Yeah, I don't think it's money and power doesn't corrupt. It just brings to the surface what was already there. If somebody is able to be dishonest, then but they're honest when there's lack of opportunity to be dishonest and get away with it, then they're not an honest person. If the only thing keeping you on the straight and narrow is the fact that you don't have the opportunity to be dishonest, then you're not honest. So money and power doesn't corrupt. It just accentuates what already exists within that person. Mom is doing okay. She's hanging in there. You know, obviously she is devastated. Obviously, she's really devastated, but she's always been very strong, and she's keeping it together, and she has to for everybody else. And mom has always been able to do that, regardless of what she was going through personally. She has always been able to stay strong and keep moving forwards. Yes, for those that don't know, it has been confirmed that yes, Matt did pass away. It was confirmed. All right, so I don't know. All right, I think. All right, is this back up and running? So I'm running the live over here on TikTok at the same time I'm recording the live podcast episode and Q&A, and I'm having trouble with my internet and stuff, but I'm in the middle of nowhere, so no surprise there. Well, it's unfortunate, but there are always going to be people that, come out of the woodwork to want to say mean or nasty things or leave hateful comments and stuff. And unfortunately, even tragedies don't stop those people from doing those things. And in some cases, that actually makes some terrible people even behave worse. So all you can do is just let the darkness pass by you and not absorb it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, guys, and my condolences to everyone out there who is going through something similar. Thank you very much to everybody for all your kind words, and I want to express my condolences to all of y'all guys who have shared your own stories of loss. Actually, Gaby and Matt were always pretty close, and Bear always did everything that he could. And I'm not gonna go into specifics and details and stuff like that. And as y'all guys know, the whole that whole subject and Matt is something that I haven't spoken about uh, very much or at all. And there are reasons behind that, obviously. And there's stuff that people don't know, and there's stuff that and there's just it's a mess. It's a mess. Shout out to EW6554. Thank you very much for that. That's going right back into the pod. Thank you for your support. And your question is, do you still have your boat? So I'm assuming you're speaking about the ferry boat that I was rebuilding a few years ago. And unfortunately, no, I don't. It's a little bit of a sore subject because it hits me in the feels because I loved that boat. It meant a lot to me. And I had a lot of plans for it. And I will always treasure the memories I made on that boat, but unfortunately, I did have to let it go. I did end up having to let it go and focus, on everything that was happening at the time. And with the relocation from Alaska, with my mom's cancer, with everything that was going on, and my dad's failing health and everything, unfortunately, I did end up having to let go of the boat. It will not be the last boat I have, though. Bam always finds his way back to the water. So yeah, we're all in the same area. We're all in northern Washington, and I travel a bit and whatnot, and for work and stuff, and but we're all in northern Washington area except for Bear, who's down in Florida because that's where his ex lives, and so Bear is down there to be with his kids. Well, we very much exist in the public eye. We're very much put ourselves out there. Once you step in front of the curtain, that's just the way your life is. There's no going back behind the curtain. So there is, of course, stuff that you're still going to keep private and personal and all of that. Doesn't mean you're going to share every single aspect of your existence with everyone, but it is, of course, just it comes with the territory that people are going to be curious and want to ask questions, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not obligated to have to answer a question. So y'all guys, if you have a question, don't be shy. You can definitely just throw it out at me. I'm not going to get offended. I'm impossible to offend because I just don't care about anyone's opinion. So that being said, don't be shy. Don't worry about it. If you have a question or anything, you can toss it into the comment box. It's all good. And for y'all guys over here on TikTok, I'm currently doing a live episode of my podcast, Brown Overboard, which I host on YouTube. So if y'all guys want to check it out, it's on YouTube. It's called Brown Overboard. You can subscribe completely for free. And I do appreciate all of the kind words and everything, guys. It does not go unnoticed. And yeah, of course it's difficult and it's weird and it's dark and it's awkward, everything that has transpired and gone on and difficult to wrap your head around that kind of thing. So thank you very much for all of the kind words, and also thank you very much to everybody who has shared their own experiences with things like this, and everybody who has talked about the hard things that they have gone through or experienced personally, or that they have experienced because of someone in their life going through these similar things. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for being here for my family, and thanks for being part of Brown Overboard and the podcast. If you're looking for the podcast, it's on YouTube. It's called Brown Overboard. I do also have episodes on Spotify. I'm trying to build that one up, but it's very slow going. There's a whole thing with Spotify. You gotta get X amount of listeners and X amount of hours listened before they let you in the gate, basically. So I'm trying to build up on that one. But if you're looking for the pod, it's primarily on YouTube. It's called Brown Overboard. Which one of my brothers and sisters am I the closest to? Someone is asking. So that depends on the day. That depends on the day. We're all close. We're all the wolf pack. We're all really close. Gaby is probably the guy that everyone in the family always gets along with. I think that Gaby would probably be that guy in the family because everyone loves Gaby. Thank you for that. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of compliments on my voice throughout my life. A lot of compliments. Even when I was a little kid, before my voice got deeper, I always got a lot of compliments, and I'm trying to utilize the gift God gave me, with the podcast and voice acting and audiobooks and all of that stuff. So thank you. What was the hardest thing about filming the show? I actually don't know because it wasn't really that like hard. I know the hardest thing that would be for most people is just the fact that you're being recorded. And for me, that's not a problem because I think the reason it bothers a lot of people is because they're worried about how they're perceived and what people think of them and how they're going to be looked at. I don't care what of me. I never have. I'm incapable of being someone that is even able to notice those kinds of things. Like I'm impervious to anyone's opinion of me. I literally don't care, for better or worse. I'm not capable of caring. And so for that reason, it never bothered me being on film. And that I think would be the hardest aspect of being on a reality show because for us, they just showed up with cameras and pointed them at us. Like they just filmed our life and they filmed our existence. So there wasn't a lot to it that made it difficult. Although, as I say that, the interviews were awkward and kinda weird. For me, not so much because it's one reason it's spotlight on you when you're in an interview chair and they're asking you questions. They got a clipboard with questions and they're checking them off. For me, the primary reason it was so difficult to do interviews is because, they didn't want me to wear shades in the interview. Testing, testing. I keep bumping the mic. So I couldn't wear my sunglasses in the interview. I could have, but I didn't want to be that guy. So and the lights were very bright. So the hardest part for me were the searing bright lights burning into my retinas while I did interviews. There you go. I'm not married. I do have a girlfriend. I do not have any kids. I do not have any pets. I have tons and tons of nieces and nephews, though. I have a whole bunch of nieces and nephews. And it is a very much positive thing about the show that they will get to watch the show and to know our family in that way. And, like, they'll get to see Matt at a better version of Matt. They will get to see him, really at his best, on the show. They'll get to know my dad, which they will never know, in person. And I think that is really cool. That is something that I think is really great and really cool about our show. Is the fact that all the nieces and nephews and all the kids growing up that they will get to experience that part of our life, that time period was cataloged so well and so professionally, and that they will get to be part of that, and that they will get to see the people that aren't here anymore, and that they will get to have those experiences with us through the show. I think that is magical. Uh, Someone is asking at what age things kinda became that way for Matt. So he struggled for a very long time. He struggled for a very long time. I'm not gonna go into details, but, he struggled for a very long time. For me, adjusting to different locations, aspects of life and stuff, I'm pretty adaptable. So, like, I've always, just adapted pretty fast because it's just the reality of circumstance. It's the reality that you're in. And that is just the way that it is. Like, it is what it is, right? And so for me, uh, I have, like, a just extreme sense of acceptance for reality being what it is, and being in the moment that I'm in, and living the reality with which I'm living. So for me, there's it's not hard adjusting to different locations, or adjusting to, things, because I adapt pretty fast because, you don't really have a choice. So I'm not gonna go into details, but yes, of course, Matt's struggles had a lot to do with him, not being on the show later, and a lot of the things that he was going through. Obviously, that played a big factor in that. Yeah, I could see that. People having a hard time, watching, reruns of the show and stuff. I could definitely see that. For me, one of the difficult parts of going back and, watching stuff is hearing my dad's voice. That's difficult, because, obviously miss my dad a lot, and looking at pictures and stuff seems to hit me differently than hearing someone's voice. Seems to be different. My condolences to everybody, who is sharing their pain, tonight. on the comment section, everybody out there who's sharing everything that they have gone through and everything, whether it's something they've personally gone through or something that they went through because of someone that they knew or someone that they were related to. My condolences, guys, and stay strong. Well, no one can really say what it is that makes things end up the way that they do. What was the thing that is the way it is, or what why the why of it. But in the end, we are what we choose to be, and you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped, and you can do everything that you can, and sometimes it's not enough. No, I have no desire to move back to Alaska. There are definitely aspects of Alaska and whatnot that I miss, and things that I love about Alaska. Alaska will always be part of who I am, and I definitely don't dislike Alaska at all. But there is a lot of world that I want to see. There's a lot I want to see. There's a lot out there that I want to experience. There are a lot of things for me to do, and there's a lot of world, and I want to see it, and I want to go check it out. Yeah, so I'm not going to speak on specifics about things like that. Well, on the subject of death, someone asking here, yeah, it's they say time heals all wounds, but I think it's for some people it just makes it easier to hide the wound as opposed to feeling better because I don't think there's ever going to come a time for me that it's not a thing that I don't miss as much as I always have. I feel like in one way I lost him this morning, but in another way it was 1,000 years ago because it feels like it's been that long since I got to talk to him, and especially going through something like the family's going through now. Uh, it's really difficult not to wish that you could sit down and talk to your old man. All right, guys. So I didn't realize I've already been on here almost 2 hours. So I think I'm going to call it an episode of the pod. I really appreciate y'all guys being here, all your kind words, your support and everything for my family, for our show, for our adventures, for my podcast, and all that stuff. Y'all guys are awesome. If you haven't thumbs up, definitely give a thumbs up. Whether you're throwing stuff in the tip jar, thumbs it up, clicking the like button, leaving a comment or any of that stuff, or subscribing to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. What are you waiting for? Push the button. Make the leap. Subscribe. Do appreciate it. It's cool, and it helps the podcast. And the podcast is something I'd be doing even if there was nobody listening to it. So I think it's really cool that there are so many people listening and enjoying it. And thank you very much to everybody again for all the kind words and everything. And again, my condolences to anyone else who has gone through something like this or is going through something like this. And if you're somebody that struggles with mental health, if you're somebody that struggles with substance abuse and those things, there is help. There is a better path. Stay strong. There is always hope. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. Y'all have a good one. Stay safe, respect the danger, and I will see you next time for another episode of Brown Overboard.